The average cost of a four-year degree has tripled over the last 4 decades. Meanwhile, in 2021, Harvard University grew its endowment by $10 billion. Dr. Gillen, why haven't schools flush with cash like Harvard used a small piece of their profits to lower tuition cost?
I think it fundamentally has to do with the nature of competition in higher education. And we've got 2 Harvard teachers right here, very, very distinguished ones, I might add. The way you become Harvard is you accumulate a massive endowment, and the goal is to create the perception and hopefully the reality of high academic excellence in every field. And so the way you do that, you accumulate endowment. You don't spend. Or you don't admit everybody. You're very selective about who you let into the college, and so you combine this, and you've got basically a very rich institution that is kind of cream skimming the best students, and then we all kind of agree that it's a great school because of that. No offense to you guys, but that might not be the case. There might be a community college out there that's doing
a $53.2 billion endowment. I mean, isn't that absurd? I mean, I'm baffled by it. That why couldn't that money be used to lower tuition cost?
Harvard absolutely could just waive tuition for all their students if they wanted to. They could probably waive tuition for all students in Boston if they wanted to.
Maybe throughout the entire United States of America, $53.2 billion. So why should Harvard be entirely exempt from paying any federal income taxes on that $53 billion endowment?
That's a great question. I don't know. There was a small change to an endowment tax, essentially, on the return on investment. I think it's 1.4% that applies to some endowments. I don't know if Harvard is caught up in that or not, but that law could be updated.
Really crazy. Relatedly, a 2021 Heritage Foundation report found that the average U.S. university has 45 full-time staff dedicated to DEI. Some schools pay full-time salaries to over 150 DEI staff. Meanwhile, the average cost of a 4-year degree has tripled over the last 4 decades, and that's even accounting for inflation. Mr. Horn, how can policymakers make sure that universities use federal funds to prepare their students for the workforce instead of wasting tax dollars on DEI offices?
Well, the increase in DE&I officers is really part of a larger trend, right, of the administrative overhead that Dr. Gillen spoke to earlier, and administrative costs as complexity and trying to be all things to all people and all priorities and so forth.
Good morning, friends. You may want to take action. Our federal government has just announced more federal rebate checks. Consumers may soon receive up to $14,000 in rebates, as long as states opt to make all funds available. This is thanks to new funding from the Inflation Reduction Act. My dearest friends, please do me a big favor and watch until the end of this video. Also, every Friday, I will be announcing several winners for the Walmart gift card giveaway. My friends, please make sure that you enter these giveaways by clicking and liking several of my videos, and then comment below the keyword of each video that you watch. The more videos that you comment on, dear friends, the greater your chances of winning the giveaways. Consumers may soon be able to access $14,000 or more of federal rebates for making energy-efficient upgrades to their home. But just how soon will vary by state, and some may opt not to make the funds available at all. The rebates are part of the Inflation Reduction Act, which earmarked $369 billion in spending for policies to fight climate change, amounting to the biggest piece of climate legislation in U.S. history. President Biden signed the measure into law in August 2022. The Inflation Reduction Act devotes a total of $8.8 billion for 2 initiatives, which is the Home Efficiency Rebate Program, which offers up to $8,000, and the Home Electrification and Appliance Rebates Program. In essence, they are consumer discounts to cover the partial, or in some cases, full costs of home efficiency projects, like installing insulation or an electric heat pump, or buying electric Energy Star appliances. The rebates are generally designed to be delivered at the point of sale from a retailer or contractor. Their value varies depending on factors like project expense, household income, and total energy savings. States which administer the funds must apply to the U.S. Department of Energy to receive their allocated grants. The application window opened on July 27th when the Department of Energy issued guidance to state energy offices on program design. The earliest adopters may be able to implement their respective programs and begin issuing rebates near the end of this year. One state, which is Florida, has publicly signaled it does not intend to apply for the $346 million of allocated federal funds. Only California and Texas have a higher state allocation. The Inflation Reduction Act allows states to use a share of their federal grant to administer the rebate programs. But Florida Governor Ron DeSantis vetoed the state's authority to spend the administrative funding, which totaled about $5 million. And as a result, the state is not applying for the federal rebates. So it's unclear if that stance will change if the administrative funding becomes available later in time. The Inflation Reduction Act narrowly passed the House and Senate without one GOP vote. The law is a centerpiece of the Biden administration's goals to slash greenhouse gas emissions and avoid the worst impacts of climate change. States have an August 16, 2024 deadline to notify the U.S. Energy Department if they intend to participate. President Biden's administration is also set to take a more forceful approach to ending remote work in the coming months, asking federal workers to return to physical offices by this fall. According to a new report by Axios, citing an email from Biden's Chief of Staff, Jeff Zients, to cabinet members, Zients said that federal workers would aim to return to in-person work between September and October of this year. The plan builds on a pledge that Biden made during his March 2022 speech, urging all Americans to fill our great downtowns, as many office spaces in Washington, D.C. are still largely empty. In the email, Zients stated, "We are returning to in-person work because it is critical to the well-being of our teams and will enable us to deliver better results for the American people. This is a priority of the president." The request by the Biden team was echoed by former New York City Mayor Michael Bloomberg earlier this week, who claimed that customer service at federal agencies has suffered as a result of remote work. Real estate experts previously told Insider the office vacancy in Washington, D.C. rose from 14.8% before the crisis to almost 20% at the start of this year. A Government Accountability Office report from July stated that 17 out of 24 federal agencies use on average an estimated 25% or less of the capacity of their headquarter buildings. Well, my magnificent and most marvelous friends, that is the end of my daily stimulus update video for this morning. My dearest friends, thank you so much for joining me here and for being part of this community. To say thank you and to show my appreciation, I will be announcing several winners every Friday for the Walmart gift card giveaway. My friends, please make sure that you enter these weekly giveaways by clicking and liking several of my videos, and then comment below the keyword of each video that you watch. The more videos that you comment on, friends, the greater your chances of winning the giveaways. Thank you and have a wonderful and very blessed weekend.